Arman Tsarukyan called out Ilia Topuria with a promise. I'll finish him, and he knows it. But here's the question. Does Topuria really have something to fear? Well, Tsarukyan's dominant performance showed he's not just climbing, he's crashing into the top tier. And Topuria's undefeated record makes him the perfect target. That's the matchup everyone's debating. Tsarukyan's relentless wrestling and cardio grind down opponents, while Topuria's power and precision put people to sleep. This clash isn't just about who's stronger. It's about who can impose their game first. So in this breakdown, we're going to unpack why Tsarukyan made this call-out, how the fight might play out, and what it could mean for both fighters' futures. If you're a fan of high-stakes matchups, stick around. This one's heating up fast. Why is Arman Tsarukyan targeting Ilia Topuria right now? The answer isn't just about trash talk. It's about timing, leverage, and a clash of narratives that could reshape the lightweight division. Let's break it down. First, look at what just happened at UFC 317. Ilia Topuria didn't just fight, he shocked the division. Moving up from featherweight, he demolished Charles Oliveira in the very first round to claim the vacant lightweight title. That win instantly gave him credibility in a second division and put every contender on notice. When someone bursts onto the scene like that, challengers line up. But for Tsarukyan, this was the perfect opening to plant his flag. Why? Because Arman Tsarukyan already sees himself as the rightful #1 contender. Just a few months earlier, he beat Oliveira in a razor-close split decision at UFC 300. From his perspective, he already did the hard work Topuria just got rewarded for. Add to that a strong win streak and his reputation as one of the division's most relentless grinders, and Tsarukyan feels overlooked. That's why he didn't waste a second after UFC 317. He was cage-side, waiting. And the moment Topuria had the belt, Tsarukyan hit social media with a bold statement. I'm finishing Ilia. That's a fact. And he knows it. But there's more to this call-out than just rankings. It's about image and narrative. Tsarukyan believes Topuria is leaning into showmanship instead of real competition. After beating Oliveira, Topuria didn't talk about Arman. He didn't mention Justin Gaethje either. Instead, he targeted Paddy Pimblett, a fan favorite with buzz, but nowhere near title contention. They even had a shove-filled face-off, teasing a fight that's more spectacle than sport. To Tsarukyan, that's proof Topuria is ducking real threats. If you're Arman, it looks like the new champion wants to cash in on star power before defending against the toughest stylistic matchups. And Tsarukyan is determined to expose that. Stylistically, he has every reason to feel dangerous for Topuria. Tsarukyan isn't just a wrestler. Over the years, he's developed a complete arsenal: fast combinations, sharp kicks, elbows, knees, and of course, relentless takedowns. He pushes a pace that drowns opponents. Topuria, on the other hand, is explosive and powerful, but we haven't seen him dragged deep into a fight against someone with Arman's cardio and pressure. That's why Tsarukyan is confident enough to say he'll finish Topuria. In his eyes, it's not arrogance, it's math. Of course, the UFC doesn't always work on math. President Dana White made it clear that Tsarukyan hurt his case when he withdrew from a scheduled title fight with Islam Makhachev at UFC 311 after struggling with his weight cut. Dana said, "You can't screw it up like that." Even though Arman redeemed himself by showing up as the backup fighter at UFC 317, White suggested he may have lost his shot. That makes Tsarukyan's call-out even more urgent. He knows if he doesn't seize this moment, he risks being leapfrogged by flashier fights and politics. So why is he targeting Topuria right now? Because the timing is perfect. Topuria's stock has never been higher, and the division is searching for its next true challenger. Tsarukyan already has the resume, the style, and the motivation. And most importantly, he refuses to be left out of the spotlight while the new champion chases headlines with safer, flashier matchups. This isn't just a call-out, it's a power move. Tsarukyan is putting pressure on both Topuria and the UFC. He's saying, don't let hype define the lightweight division. Put me in there, and I'll prove who the real threat is. Could Arman Tsarukyan's style actually break Ilia Topuria? That's the million-dollar question, and the reason this potential fight has so many fans buzzing. On paper, both men bring firepower, but when you break down their strengths and weaknesses, it's clear why Tsarukyan believes he's the man to hand Topuria his first real loss. Let's start with Ilia Topuria. His biggest weapon is knockout power. At both featherweight and lightweight, he's shown he can end fights with a single clean shot. Just ask Charles Oliveira, who went down in the first round at UFC 317. Topuria's boxing is sharp, his counters are fast, and when he smells blood, he swarms. Combine that with his swagger and confidence, and he feels untouchable right now. But here's the catch. Power alone doesn't always hold up when you're dragged into deep water. And that's exactly where Arman Tsarukyan specializes. Tsarukyan's style is built on pace and pressure. He doesn't just wrestle, he drowns opponents with chain wrestling, constant movement, and high-volume striking. Fighters who start strong against him often fade once they realize they can't get a moment to breathe. And that's what makes him dangerous for someone like Topuria. Think about it. We've seen Topuria dominate in short bursts, but we haven't really seen him in a dogfight against an opponent who pushes him for 15 or 25 minutes. Tsarukyan has the gas tank to force Topuria into those uncomfortable positions. Imagine Topuria swinging heavy hooks in round 1, only to get taken down, scrambled against, and forced back to his feet, over and over again. By round 3 or 4, those punches might not come with the same heat. And then there's the technical side. Tsarukyan isn't just a wrestler who shoots doubles. He mixes it up: low kicks, spinning attacks, elbows in the clinch. He's comfortable striking at range, and when opponents overcommit, he changes levels and dumps them on the mat. That unpredictability is what makes him such a tough puzzle to solve. Now, does Topuria have the tools to defend? Absolutely. He's a black belt in jiu-jitsu, and he's no slouch in scrambles. But defending takedowns from Charles Oliveira and defending takedowns from Arman Tsarukyan are two very different things. Oliveira gives you space. Tsarukyan smothers you. He doesn't let you reset. That's the kind of grind that breaks fighters. Not instantly, but over time. Another key factor is composure. Tsarukyan has gone 5 rounds against Islam Makhachev in his UFC debut and held his own. He's tested against elite competition and didn't crumble under pressure. For Topuria, we just haven't seen that test at lightweight yet. Sure, he crushed Oliveira, but what happens if he can't put Arman away early? Does he stay patient, or does frustration set in? This fight comes down to discipline versus explosiveness. If Topuria lands clean early, he could put Tsarukyan in real danger, no question. But if Arman survives that first storm and drags Topuria into the later rounds, the momentum shifts, and that's when Tsarukyan's grinding, suffocating style has the best chance to break him. So, could Tsarukyan's style actually break Topuria? The answer is yes, and that's exactly why he's calling him out. Arman knows he can't match Topuria's highlight reels with flashy knockouts, but he can beat him with pace, control, and relentless pressure. And if that happens, it won't just be a win. It'll be the kind of performance that rewrites the story of both fighters. This isn't just another contender fight. It's a matchup that could redefine the lightweight division and shift the power dynamics inside the UFC. Let's start with the stakes. Ilia Topuria is riding high after UFC 317, where he demolished Charles Oliveira to win the vacant lightweight title. He's undefeated, flashy, and already building a reputation as one of the UFC's brightest stars. The UFC loves fighters like him, marketable, charismatic, and dangerous. But the problem with star power is that it often meets reality the first time a champion runs into a stylistic nightmare. And for Topuria, that nightmare has a name: Arman Tsarukyan. If this fight gets booked, it immediately sets up a collision between hype and hard work. Topuria brings the aura of an unbeaten champion who just conquered 2 divisions. Tsarukyan brings the grind, the consistency, and the hunger of someone who's been clawing his way up without shortcuts. The UFC would be marketing fireworks, but underneath, this is also a high-level chess match. Now, what's on the line for both fighters? For Topuria, the risk couldn't be higher. If he loses to Tsarukyan, his aura of invincibility is gone. His story shifts from unbeatable double champ to great striker who couldn't handle the grind. That's a massive change in how fans, analysts, and even the UFC matchmakers view him. On the other hand, if Topuria beats Tsarukyan, it silences critics who say he's ducking real contenders. It proves he's not just a showman chasing flashy fights. He's a champion who can handle the toughest styles the division has to offer. For Tsarukyan, the opportunity is massive. Beating Topuria wouldn't just earn him the title, it would finally give him the spotlight he's been chasing. He's already beaten Oliveira. He's pushed Islam Makhachev in a 5-round war, and he's taken out a string of dangerous lightweights. But those wins haven't made him a household name. A victory over Topuria, though, that changes everything. Suddenly, Tsarukyan isn't just respected by hardcore fans. He becomes the guy who dethroned the UFC's golden prospect. That's legacy shaping. And then there's the ripple effect across the division. Think about Justin Gaethje, Dustin Poirier, and even Charles Oliveira. If Topuria keeps the belt, maybe we see him defend against Gaethje or chase the biggest money fights. If Tsarukyan wins, the division resets. We could be looking at fresh matchups, rematches with Makhachev or Oliveira, and a new era of lightweight ruled by relentless wrestling pressure. Either way, the booking of this fight reshuffles the deck. Right now, lightweight has been criticized for stalling, champions chasing money fights instead of defending against contenders. Booking Tsarukyan versus Topuria would signal a shift back to meritocracy. It tells fans, yes, we're giving the undefeated star his shine, but we're also putting him against the most dangerous contender available. It's a fight that balances entertainment and legitimacy. And make no mistake, if this fight happens, it's not going the distance quietly. Either Topuria lands a highlight knockout that cements his reign, or Tsarukyan drags him into deep water and drowns the hype with relentless pressure. So what happens if this fight gets booked? The UFC doesn't just get another big main event. They get a true litmus test for both men. For Topuria, it's a chance to prove he's more than a highlight reel. For Tsarukyan, it's the long-awaited shot to claim the belt and prove his style can break even the brightest star. No matter who wins, the division won't look the same after. So here we are. The collision course is set. Arman Tsarukyan versus Ilia Topuria isn't just another call-out. It's the kind of fight that fans dream about, the type of matchup that can redefine legacies. On one side, Ilia Topuria, the undefeated star, the man who just crushed Charles Oliveira and now carries the swagger of a double division threat. He's flashy, he's marketable, and he's convinced he's untouchable. On the other side, Arman Tsarukyan, the silent predator who's been grinding through the toughest names in the division, often without the credit he deserves. He's not here for clout. He's here to prove that substance beats style when the cage door shuts. The beauty of this matchup is that it has no script. Either Topuria lands early and cements his status as the UFC's next superstar, or Tsarukyan drags him into deep waters, breaks him down, and rewrites the lightweight narrative. That uncertainty is what makes this fight so electric. It's not just about who's better, it's about who can impose their will when everything is on the line. If this fight gets booked, fans won't just be watching two athletes, they'll be watching two clashing philosophies: explosiveness versus endurance, flash versus grind, highlight reel versus hard reality. And when the final horn sounds, only one of them will walk out with their story intact. So now the question goes to you. If the UFC makes this fight, who do you think comes out on top? Does Topuria keep the hype alive, or does Tsarukyan prove that relentless pressure can break even the brightest star? Drop your predictions in the comments. I'll be reading them. And if you want to stay ahead of the curve with more breakdowns, fight previews, and post-fight analysis, make sure you hit that subscribe button, give this video a like, and turn on the notification bell, because the lightweight division is about to explode, and you don't want to miss it.